Hello and welcome, everyone. We are going to do a live stream here. We'll give it a few moments to let a couple of additional people join in if they so choose. And if you're watching this after the fact, thanks for tuning in. If you want to be able to get in on these live streams when they're happening, I recommend you hit that subscribe button and that notification alarm. So this is what we're tying up tonight. This is my interpretation, my variation of a Christmas Island special. It's a 2-watt. Here we go. Here's our hooks. This Mustad 3407DT. That's a 1-aught sized hook. And looking at the eyes, I posted a picture on this on Instagram and immediately had some questions about this. And the eyes itself are 8mm hot pink, glow in the dark, flat red croc eyes. So these have a little bit of hidden properties. So we do got some glow in the dark action on that. So let's go ahead and just remove our sample. And first things we have to do is build our eyes. And these are 3/8 inch dumbbell eyes. And what we're going to do is we're just going to open our pack of croc eyes. And the first one's really easy. They got a stick-on back. We're just going to pop this nice and centered as best as we can. And for the far side, we'll just do our best to match the direction. So I'm just going to point the eye off to the left and take note. So that's facing forward. We'll roll it over, and no matter what it is, it's going to be close enough. I'm not going to lose any sleep. So there's our eye, and what I want to do is I want to seal in this eye a little bit better. And in order to do so, I'm going to come in with some Solarez. This is the thin, hard formula. And we're just going to take a little drop, put the little drop right on top. I'm going to come in with my bodkin, and I'm just going to make sure I spread that all the way around. Make sure we get into the small gap around the edge. And in a moment, it's going to kind of do its own thing with gravity and self-level. We just want to make sure we get all those gaps filled. I think that's us. All right, what we're going to do is just come in with our UV light, give that a zap. And we're going to consider that side sealed in here in just a moment. Flip it over, wash, rinse, repeat. So if you look real close, there is just a little gap around the edge. And with the UV resin, we're just filling in that gap. So just add a drop on top. And we'll come in with our bodkin and work it into that little gap around the edge. And this will really help seal that in, make it one solid unit. Alright, we'll give that a second to kind of self-level. And we'll get us a zap with the ultraviolet resin, or the ultraviolet light, to cure that resin in there. And this is one of those set it and forget it's. Give the far side another quick zap. Alright, and that's going to get a little bit more attention here in a few minutes. with the ultraviolet light as we cure and adhere everything together on this fly. We're going to be fishing this in the salt water, so we want to be critter proof with it. So a lot of insurance policies added in on this. All right, so once again, we have our 2/0 hook. And for this, I'm going to be using a 210 denier flat wax thread in the color of hot pink. Someone get your sunglasses out because this sucker is bright. We'll just start our thread. And because of the nature of these dumbbell eyes, I'm just going to build a small base for the dumbbell eye to sit on. I'm not necessarily trying to build a cradle for it or anything like that. I'm just trying to increase the mass, the diameter of that hook shank before we put these dumbbell eyes on. All right. Here we go. We'll face them forward. Get our thread right in the middle. And we're going to just do some X-wraps. Some crossing wraps. And whatever you do, just make sure you do it well. Everybody has their own style and technique for their dumbbell eyes. I like to come in with a little dab of glue. This is some Ultra Gel Loctite. A little dab right in there. That's going to definitely give us a little bit of an insurance policy there. Grab that. A few more turns this way, a few more turns that way. We'll figure eight it. You know where that's going? Nowhere, that's where. All right, so there we have it. We'll take our thread from the front all the way to the rear. We're going to tie in our tail. And for our tail, we're just going to use a pink crystal flash. Grab a few strands. We don't have to be shy with this. I'm going to multiply by dividing. Divide that over once. Trim our edges. All right, so that's one hook's length sticking out. Let's see, once more. That's one hook's length. One hook's length for our tail. And we're just going to tie this in, make that part of the body. Fold it back. That's going to just get incorporated as part of the body too. And I'm just going to give that a little bit of a tapered trim. That's going to give us a little bit of difference on our body there. I'm liking it so far. All right, now we're going to grab some more crystal flash. This is going to be for our body. And let's tie that in at the rear. And I just want to do my best to keep my thread wraps nice and even, nice and tight. That way we don't have any lumps or bumps in our body. Bump our thread forward of the dumbbell eyes. And we're just going to come in with this crystal flash and take some tight wraps around the body. Sometimes you might find it best just to lay a finger on it every wrap just to keep it taut. Work our way forward. All right, wish those guys would keep it down. All right, let's go ahead and do a quick figure eight. Let's see here. Do a figure eight around the dumbbells. and secure this in front. Here we go. So we got that up and through those dumbbell eyes. We're up front with this. And let's go ahead and trim off our excess. All right, before we go too far, we're going to come in with some more Solarez. Just going to trim that one long one. This is the Solarez Bone Dry. And I'm just going to add a coat over the body and in between the eyes. And we're going to seal this all in. Clean it up, make sure we don't have any drips or gaps with our bodkin. And just give that a good smear all the way around. This is the viscosity on the bone dry. It runs and settles in these cracks pretty quickly and easily. In fact, I'm going to add one coat over the eyeballs itself before I go any further, just to give those eyes one last clear coat before we add in the rest of our material. Just a quick splash and a quick zap. One more time on the far side. And with the bone dry, I know this really cures like it promises, bone dry. So I don't have to worry about anything with this coming apart or getting sticky or anything like that. Once this hits the sunlight, it is going to sparkle. All right, we're going to do an underwing. And for that, I'm going to come in with some more pink Crystal Flash. I'll take a few strands of this. We'll trim our loops. And we'll fold it over once. We'll even use that piece even though it wanted to run away. We'll fold this over and trim these loops. That's going to get us a decent underwing. All right, I'm going to match this length out, same length as the tail. And I wouldn't call it an underwing if I didn't want to put it under. So this is going to go on the underneath side. I'm going to take a couple of wraps and position. And we'll give it a little inspection. Just make sure we got this coming straight off and in between the eyes there. That's where we want it. Trim off our excess on that Crystal Flash. And we'll just make sure we got that all bound in. All right, last but not least, our final wing will be some Fly Tires Dungeon Congo hair. This is the bait fish cream. It's got it's just in my opinion, it's just a little dirtier than a bright white or a stark white. A little more creamier. All right, we're going to take a little strand of that, fold that over once. We'll multiply by dividing. Give that a trim. And first thing we want to do is kind of taper out our ends. Just that way nothing's really close and matching. Coming with our brush. Let's brush that out nice and fluffy. Really get the air in there. Make sure our ends aren't locked tight. All right, I like that. We're going to measure this out for our length. I'm going to tie this in front of our dumbbell eyes, and we want our whole wing to go the full length right there at about with our tail. So what I want to do is I want to take my material, while I'm pinching it between my fingers, I'm going to take the tips, I'm going to split it. So I have two sides of the same story. I'm going to come underneath, split it around the bend of the hook, and there we have it. We'll take a couple of loose wraps and just double check our position. I like that. And I'll come in with a few more locking wraps. Trim off our excess. We're going to come in at an angle. Just want to make sure we get a nice clean tapered cut, which will help us with our nice clean tapered cone up front. All right, bind this all down, build our front end. We just want to make sure our thread, we got this beautiful flat wax thread, so let's go ahead and use it to its mightiest potential and just make sure it lays down nice and flat. All right, nice tapered cone working our way forward. It's looking pretty darn good. All right, let's whip finish this off. We'll give it 1, 2, 3 turns on the whip finish, and we'll trim off our tie-in thread. Excellent. All right, last but not least, we're going to come in with another splash of bone dry. This will build our cone up front. We'll just give that a couple taps there. And just work it into that thread and between the eyes once again. There we go. All right, one last time with our brush. This is tied relatively sparse. You really want to keep it relatively sparse. Let the sparkle do the talking. All right, so that's going to be it. That's my version of a Christmas Island special. This will be riding in the water column, hook side up, just like so. See if we can't balance that on there for a quick view. There you go. And with the black background. All right, we're going to leave it at that. Until next time, everybody, happy tying, tight lines, peace.